Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we will be making another bioactive terrarium, but for invertebrate this time. Here I add Lika. This is to help water drain out from the substrate so it doesn't kill the plants by drowning them. I then measure and cut fiberglass window screen mesh. This is to separate the drainage layer from the substrate layer. I will be using Terrarium from the Bioactive as my substrate. The substrate works good for invertebrates and is great for burrowing and bioactive setups. I now rinse off my cork. This is to remove excess debris or anything that could cause problems later in the enclosure. I then use this cork to build up the land. I build up a substantial substrate layer in the back to add more depth to this setup. This is what's going to make a bioactive setup the plants. Here is a rabbit's foot fern, and here is a lucine. They will both do good in this type of setup I have from Mexican red-knee tarantula. Here we have the last plant I'll be using. It is the red Ann. Here I rinse the dirt off of the roots. I don't want any of the existing dirt in the plants to come into the bioactive setup I have. I do this by rinsing off the plants and take them out of the pots. I then wash all the remaining substrate out of the roots very carefully so the roots don't break. Now for my favorite part of making the bioactive setup, putting in the plants. Here I put in the rabbit's foot fern from earlier. I dig up the substrate around it and bury it in. Then I replace the cork where it was. I want this fern to contrast nicely against the other textures I have in this enclosure. I now dig out the burrow. The burrow will be between the two entrances to the log. I then add the lucine. This will make it seem like there are bushes down on the jungle floor. This is the look that I'm intending to get out of this enclosure. Now I add the red Ann. This will add a nice pop of color against all the green, because it is red and pink. I now add dried preserved moss. This moss stays green And although this setup will be a moist setup, it will not be sopping, which moss would enjoy. So I have to keep it dried and preserved so it won't all go brown and die. I now add dried magnolia leaves. This is to be the leaf litter, which the isopods will eat and hide under. This is a must-have for every bioactive setup as it provides somewhat of a fertilizer and a food source for the isopods. I now add my cleanup crew. I'll be using dwarf white isopods as they are small and won't affect the tarantula. This is important as tarantulas will molt and bigger isopods could affect how they molt and could damage or even kill the tarantulas. I will also be adding temperate springtails. These will break down the mold and will be an effective cleanup crew for the tarantula and the isopods. And with the trimming of some plants coming over the side, our enclosure is pretty much